Hello guys, so we're gonna do this standard one, understand your role. This is long overdue actually, but let's crack on. Okay, so activity 1.1a, using your job description to help you, fill in the box below to describe your main duties and responsibilities. So let's say you're a carer, healthcare support worker. You can put my main duties and responsibilities include, so think of what you are doing. So mainly you're supporting your residents, or some would call them clients, with their daily activities or activities of daily living. That means it's either you're actively helping them with personal care, or you're just supporting them, prompting them with regards to personal care like shower, bath, etc. Then the other thing is assisting or providing them with their fluids and food. So either you're helping them, feeding them, assisting with their food or drink, or by just offering or prompting them with their food and drinks. So the other thing would be, some people are helping with their groceries. In a nursing home, it's being done by the kitchen staff. They order it. But there's lots of tasks or responsibilities that are included in your job role. So just enumerate or make a paragraph regarding your duties and responsibilities. The key factor is health and safety. So you're there to maintain and make sure that you are safe, as well as the people you're looking after. Then their well-being, that's another key word. So it means you are taking care of them physically, emotionally, and psychologically. So you are there to support them. So there's lots of ways to answer this one, but just think of your job role, and then what are the things that you are doing. As I said, you always make sure that they are safe and you are safe, and then helping them or assisting them with their food and fluids, as well as personal care. So that's a shortcut answer. You can expand on that one actually. Now, moving on, activity 1.1b, look up the care certificate and code of conduct for healthcare support workers and adult social care workers in England. Complete the diagram below to list some examples of the standard they include. So, with this one, it's already at the beginning of your care certificate. It's enumerated there, the 15 standards. So you can include it here as your answer, or you can search on the internet for the code of conduct. There's loads. So you can either use the book for your answer, or you can search online or ask someone regarding the code of conduct. Then with regards to care certificate, there's 15 standards. You got this one is about your job role, and then 2 is your personal development. You've got duty of care, you've got handling information, you've got infection control, you got health and safety, you got basic life support, you got communication, as I said early on. There's lots of answers here that you can put. All right, next, activity 1.1b. Being self-aware is important for care workers. Think about your previous experiences and the attitudes and beliefs you have, and under the points below, explain how they may have affected the way you work. So a positive experience. So anything, it's not always about your work. It can be anything that is a positive experience. One example is when you help someone, that can be a positive experience, like they got a heavy trolley or a bag or luggage, and then you help them, that's a positive experience. If you compliment someone, that's a positive experience. So anything really that is a positive experience that you think you can put in here. Donation, positive experience. Accompanying someone because they can't cross the street or something like that. Any you can write it as your positive experience and how they may have affected the way you work. So you feel good, and it's also sharing that positive experience to the people you look after. Just by telling them the story of what happened, it will cheer them up. It will have this knock-on effect to them. But the most important thing is that you feel good when you help someone or when you experience a positive experience. Right, next, a negative experience and the steps that were taken to ensure it didn't affect your work. So a negative experience, let's say you had a bit of a quarrel or a fight with your other half, or you got an upcoming exam, you're very stressed, or knock on wood, you failed an exam, maybe driving exam or any exam. So there's a negative experience. Now, steps that were taken to ensure it didn't affect your work. So what are the steps you've taken? Probably talk to someone. That means that you are unloading some of the burden, and they may have suggestions for you, or you might want to contemplate, or like you want to be just quiet and then you reflect. And the other thing would be relaxation technique like music, breathing exercises, or pure exercises like jogging or playing sports. Then that's off of your head, and you are now focused on your work. Or at the workplace, if you're still thinking of something that is bothering you, you talk to your line manager. That will give you catharsis, that will offload some of the stress. So there's lots of things that you can do to ensure it didn't affect your work. Okay, your positive attitude. So this one is sort of related to the question beforehand about negative experience. So if you got positive attitude, any negative experience, you can always overcome it because of your positive attitude. So positive attitude would be it's okay, I'll do best next time, or positive attitude is it's a challenge and I'm up for a challenge. So anything that is like negative, you still got something, like you will say to yourself, oh, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Those are positive attitude. Okay, or it's just a train passing by and I can always catch on the next train if I miss the other train. So it's positive attitude. Next, personal beliefs. Personal beliefs can be either about religion, or some people will say, I believe in myself. So that's personal beliefs. Some people believe in nature. Anything that you believe in, that's personal beliefs. So how does it affect your work? So it does in some cases, but in most cases that can be your guide. Like if you are an animal lover, you can share that experience to the people you work with, and maybe you got the same beliefs and traditions, or hobby, or they love animals as well. So that will provide you a good bonding. Right, activity 1.2a. Familiarize yourself with your employment rights and responsibilities. Under each of the headings below, describe your rights and responsibilities as a worker. Health and safety. We've got our responsibilities about health and safety, as I said before. to ourselves and to the people we work with. So health and safety is the number one legislation that you need to think of when you're in a workplace. So health and safety. Confidentiality. So we have our right ourselves as workers for our confidentiality, like your wages, it should be confidential. Your contract, it should be confidential. You don't want your workmates or other people to know about it, and most especially your personal life. You don't want. It's the same way to the people you are looking after or work with. So it goes both ends. So you need to respect privacy and always abide by the rules, especially with your confidentiality rules. Working time. So working time is about if your contract says 36 hours and you're working 12 hours per shift, then you come on time and you end on time and you comply with your contracted hours. So it's not like you're doing 12-hour shift but you only did 10 hours and you said, no, I can't finish my 12-hour shift, I gotta go the next day. You will phone again, I can't come early, I need to do this and that, the next shift again. So then that means you are not complying with your working time. All right, next is pay and wages. Pay and wages is about your contracted hourly rate, which is multiplied to your monthly salary. And if they're not paying you the intended salary, then they're not complying to it. And your right and your responsibility is to make sure you get the exact pay for the hours that you work. So it's your right to demand that, and you need to make sure that they are paying you the right amount. All right. Next, activity 1.2b, the aims of my organization, the objectives of my organization, values of my organization. This one is a bit tricky, but I think you can find it on the internet about your workplace, the aims of the organization and objectives and values of my organization. So we'll research on this one, we'll go back, just skip this one if you can't find it on the internet. I'll show it to you some other time. There used to be like a pamphlet or book in the rooms, and you can find it there, the aims and objectives of the company. Activity 1.2c, it is essential to work in ways that are agreed with your employer. Give an example of an agreed ways of working in your workplace and explain why it is important. So agreed ways of working is like the care plan, and it's very important because that will make you safe at your workplace, because that's your guide, the care plan. And it's also making sure that the one that you're looking after are safe because you follow the care plan. Another way of saying that is you maintain the standard of care in your workplace if you follow the care plan, because that care plan is your guide, and they've sort of agreed the resident itself. If the person is unable, they got a representative, either a relative or an advocate. And then you got the professionals, healthcare professionals, who will agree what are the best care for that person. So that's why care plan is very, very important. Okay. There's quite loads of questions here, so we just go and keep answering, and if we miss, we'll just go back on it next time. So activity 1.2e and f, part 1. For each of the statements below, decide whether it should be reported as a concern and tick either yes or no. So number 1, the health and safety of staff is in danger. Report or no. So tick yes because you need to report it. Individuals are treated with dignity and respect. No need to report because that's correct. The environment is being damaged by work activity. Yes, you need to report that. Wrongdoing is being covered up. Yes, you need to report that one. The individual's care is inadequate, but they cannot or will not complain. Yes, you still need to report that even though they don't want to complain. Care plans are reassessed and updated regularly. So no need to report that one. You're doing the right thing there. Last, your manager is involved in the abuse of individuals. Yes, you need to report that one. Activity 1.2E and F, Part 2. Thinking about the statements in Part 1 that would need to be reported. Explain how you would raise your concern or whistleblow and why. So this is about whistleblowing. So first is to report to your immediate supervisor. It can be your senior staff or your nurse on duty. Then if that person is not available, maybe the nurse are doing medicine, then it's either you wait, or if you can't wait because it's an urgent matter, go to the deputy or your care coordinator. And if they're unavailable, go to your manager. So get immediate supervisor, senior care staff, or your nurse, and then you get the care coordinator or deputy, then you get the manager. Now if those people are not available at the time, you can go to the next person like operations manager, or if you got the number of your CEO and the matter couldn't wait, then you can ring them. But first you need to start with the proper channel, and if they're unavailable, inaccessible, or they're involved in what you are reporting, then that's the time you can go to a higher body like CQC or the police. So it depends on the gravity and urgency of what you are going to report. Okay. Okay, so activity 1.38, think about your responsibilities to the individuals you support. Describe 4 of your responsibilities to those individuals. 1, providing care and support. That's what we mentioned earlier about personal hygiene, etc. Working as part of a team, so teamwork. Contributing to activities, so this is where you provide activities or you encourage them to join activities. Last but not least, respecting confidentiality. So one of your responsibility is to maintain that confidentiality or protect the privacy of the people you work with. All right, next, activity 1.3b. In the boxes below, explain how a working relationship is different to a personal relationship. Use examples from your service to help you explain your points. Right, a working relationship is when you work with your colleague, your manager, someone in your workplace. That's working relationship. A personal relationship is when you're dealing with or working with a relative. So example, nurses for working relationship, doctors, other healthcare professionals. So those are examples. Examples include for personal relationship is your mom or dad, but you're in the same workplace. Your spouse, like wife or husband. Your siblings, if your sister is working here, or a relative, auntie, uncle. So those are the examples for personal relationship. Working relationship, you disregard either she's your mom or your dad, but you categorize as your senior or your nurses or your kitchen staff, etc. All right, we're almost there. Activity 1.3c. There are 4 main working relationships. So you got number 1, individuals and their friends and family. Number 2, colleagues and managers. Number 3, people from other workplace. including advocates. Number 4, volunteer and community groups. So those are the answers. Last question. Activity 1.4 A and B. As a worker in health and social care, it is essential to be an effective and good team member and work in partnership. Explain why it is important to work in partnership with other workers. That's number 1. It's important because it makes the task easier when you work in pairs or partnership, and also for safety of everyone. So instead of you rolling the person, washing the person, especially when you're using equipment, it needs to be in pairs or more. So that's why it's important. So for health and safety reason, and second is makes the job easier. Okay. So B, in partnership with key people, advocates, and other significant to the individual, such as their carer, family members, and friends. So this is important because sometimes the resident or the people you look after cannot voice out what they want, and you can get that information from the advocates or the previous carers or their relatives. So what are their preferences, their likes, and their needs? You can get those information from those people, like family members or their previous carers or advocates. Also, sometimes the individual is uncooperative or secretive, so you can get some information from the other person, like relatives or advocates. Right, that's it for now. We'll go back to the aims, objectives of the company later, but that's a standard one.